to the conversation, and I'm going to start with you, Audu. Oh yeah. So to introduce our guest speakers, we have Audu Maikori, who is a media entrepreneur. You've heard about Chocolate City Group, Chocolate City Media, labeled and signed, that discovered and signed MI. Also got artists like the legendary fella and Seun Anikulapo-Kuti signed up to him as well. He's an entertainment lawyer, is a human rights activist, is well known in the space to advocate against social justice, is a gender advocate as well. So it's sort of like an all-rounded person to really have this conversation with us, and has been very vocal about a lot of things happening in the space. And the second person that we have, you know him already, he is Seun Anikulapo-Kuti. He is a very bold and influential figure. He's a celebrity. He speaks his truth. Some people might not like it, but the truth is that it is in his DNA. For some of you that do not know, he is the son to, I say Baba, the late fella Anikulapo-Kuti, who is a beacon of hope to our generation and has laid a lot of foundation. Unfortunately, a lot of us have not carried through on the promises of a struggle. So we're going to be engaging both of them today to sort of share the perspective on how they feel about the roles and the challenges of celebrity engagement to nation building in Nigeria. So I'm going to start with you, Audu. My first question to you is, what is the role of entertainment in nation building, and how can influential stakeholders in the space consciously drive social change at scale?
Okay, thank you for having me. I hope everyone can hear me. Seun, where's my wine? Is it only that I can drink wine? Why are you drinking wine without me? I mean,
where's your cup? Where's your cup?
Here, just pour it. Can you see? Just pour it right here for me. All right, without
wasting time, I'll not let you embarrass us like that.
Well, without wasting time, thank you guys for having me. I think entertainment is very broad. I mean, you could be talking about several things when you say entertainment. You can be talking about everything from film to music to sports to fashion. So it's very broad. But I think that the biggest thing the best way to group it is their cultural expressions, right? That have a commercial tint to it, and also some political and socio-economic aspects to that as well. So we just mentioned Seun now. Seun is a creative person. He's a bona fide celebrity, Grammy nominated, gone around the world, and he's built a following. Because of that following, he has a voice, right? And because of that voice, the music is a tool for him to sell or send a message. In the ancient days, 100 years ago, we had people called griots, and we had people who used to like praise singers, and they would sing the message to the people. So for example, the chiefs would say, okay, this dancer or this drummer would sing the praises of the king or talk about a topical issue. And that's how they used to communicate to the public. So entertainment has always been a softer way of getting a message across. So it could be a t-shirt that says power to the people. It could be an app that helps people raise money for causes. So there are different ways. I mean, you can kind of you can express yourself through entertainment through different ways. So it's a broad question. But I'll say that the biggest thing around entertainment, especially in Nigeria today, is that this is where majority of the population have vested interest in. Kids from the ages of 35, sorry, they're not kids of 35, but from 31 down, they're called young people, constitute 60 to 70% of the population. Therefore, entertainment is a fast, veritable tool to communicate, change people's mindsets, and also become a rallying point for ideas to be disseminated. So when you think about the number of bills that have been passed through entertainment or related or culture, like the Not Too Young to Run bill, for example, or there's one that was just passed recently, the gender act that was just passed as well. It was as a function of people getting involved in that. So entertainment is that soft power that can change to actual real change, that can transform to actual real change if it's harnessed properly.
Thank you so much, Audu. I mean, that's a very good way to start. And if I hear it correctly, you're saying that, entertainment is a form of cultural expression. It's also a soft tool to engage the populace and to get them talking about issues that hit them. I know cited examples of, the naughty or into wrong bill, the advocacy, the widespread advocacy about the rape culture, the persistent rape culture in Nigeria, and a number of things, And so that's a very good premise. So I'm gonna go to you, Seun. How will you describe we know you, right? We understand. We know your music, we know your credibility, we know your footprint across the world. But how would you describe the significance and the influence of your role as a celebrity to the survival of modern day democracy?
I did not get the last part of your question.
Okay, let me just say it again. All right. So I said, how would you describe the significance and influence of your role as a celebrity to the survival of modern day democracy?
Well, first and foremost, I have to accept that I'm a celebrity. I see myself more as a musician. I see myself more as a musician and a revolutionary artist, more than I see myself as a celebrity. To be a celebrity, you have to be celebrated. I don't think I'm celebrated, so there's no celebrity in my own game. Well, people know me, I'm a musician.
You were a Grammy Award
don't make face.
You were celebrated.
Grammy Award nomination is my own personal achievement due to my own ability to impress my peers in the academy. Wait, hold on. I need to bring my dog inside so it doesn't keep me.
Okay.
Jay! Shush. Oh yeah, come on, inside. Yeah, go to your place.
By the way, that's a celebrity dog. In case
go to your place.
I know.
Sorry. I'm sorry. This is not a celebrity dog. No, my dad.
Okay.
So anyway, so for me, I feel like, me, I'm more of a musician and a revolutionary artist. That's how I see myself. And it's because of how I'm raised to see my art, as a function of my my social responsibility. Sorry, my dog is crazy. So I have to be crazier than this dog. So I see myself more as, so how did I become impressed with art in the first place? My first encounter with art was my encounter with my father's artistry. And that artistry was based on something more profound than even being liked, than even having fans, than even making money, than even being celebrated, because lo and behold, I grew up as my father's son. So I know that this love for Fela is brand new. It's as brand new as the new Jordans that just came out 3 weeks ago. It's not something I grew up as Fela's child experiencing. I couldn't even go to most of my girlfriend's parents' houses. Fela's son, in which house? So growing up, being Fela's son was a stigma. It wasn't something that was celebrated. People didn't stop you on the road and buy me Coke. You know what I'm saying? So me, I live the reality, not the rhetoric. You understand? So there's a rhetoric today where everybody says, oh, Fela is celebrated, But while he was alive, that wasn't the case, So I think growing up in that atmosphere, or in that environment, or in that reality, or in that consciousness, I realized that music is art, the purest form of art, and what really drives true artists is a love of their people. A love of their people, and is love for their people. And the only way that they can really express that love is by representing the majority of their people's experience. So Fela decided to use his music, even at that time, to talk about what most Nigerians are going through. But in those days, there was a strong middle class who, just like today, even though they are weak today, they are still aligned with the oppressing elites, or the oppressive elites, But at that time, there was still so much of them that they could drown out Fela's message as if it was inexistent. But today, even the elite combined with their middle class, working class supporter and enablers, they cannot drown out the reality of Nigeria. So suddenly, you look like a crazy man if you now say Fela is a crazy man. So in order for everybody not to look like the crazy person, they have to drop the Fela is a crazy man rhetoric. Because now if you say Fela is crazy for what he's saying, then everybody will look at you like, are you mad? Are you mad? I've not been paid for the last 6 months. Are you mad? You know, so I think art for me is our representation. It's a form of representation. It's an important part of society, it's an important part of community, and it's an important part of cultural hegemony. And it is actually what a lot of people criticize our music not African enough, or whatever they say in terms of our mainstream music and the image it portrays. But I say the image our music portrays is a validated image in our society. It's the image that everybody adheres to. That's why it is so successful. You know, but it is the hypocritical nature of Nigerians to support something with their left hand and go and condemn it with their right hand. You know, just like Big Brother as well. You know, I don't watch it. I don't talk about it. I don't post about it. Nigerians will watch it, then go and complain about it, and continue to watch it so they can continue to complain about it, you know. Yeah. Excuse me. Okay. Yeah, so in terms of our responsibility as celebrities, I don't think celebrities are kind of their responsibilities. You know, when you are celebrated by a toxic society like ours, it means that you are passing some kind of toxic message to a certain extent that our oppressors validate. So they give you all this money and they put you on billboards and they put you on their platforms and you are successful, you know. And the youth also, due to the stifling nature of poverty, how would I put it, the voicelessness of their situation. Because I think the real problem with poverty is not the fact that people are suffering and they can't eat and life is hard. I think the real problem of poverty is the voicelessness that comes with it, the silence that is poverty, you know. Yeah. And human beings are created to communicate. That's why we have language. That's why we don't like monkeys and growl like lions. You know, we need to talk, we need to communicate. But poverty silences in a way that makes you unable to communicate your reality, communicate your existence, communicate your feelings in any tangible way. And that is the real problem of society. And that's why kids chase money so much, chase success, because it is in our society, this money, this success suddenly makes you loud. Hence, the way we say, oh, rich people, these people are loud, you know. Yeah, so because they've been silenced for so long, this is the first time anybody is hearing them. You know, so I think our art and our entertainment portrays this culture. So it is not really the fault of the entertainers that they are not doing what we think that they should be doing, that we should actually be the ones doing, because if we weren't validating those things that they were portraying, they wouldn't be validating it. They wouldn't be portraying it in the first place. So instead of us to get on our job, you know, because it's not the job of celebrities and musicians really to liberate or nation build. We are part of the picture, but we're not the full picture. You understand? I feel Nigerian professionals even have more power than the Nigerian celebrity, because regardless of what we say, if the Nigerian professionals do not stop enabling our oppressors, then whatever we are trying to change in Nigeria cannot stop, because there's no way our money is being laundered without the allegiance of our bankers. There's no way our oil industry is being mismanaged without the allegiance of our oil professionals. There's no way our education is being destroyed without the allegiance of our teachers, lecturers, vice chancellors, what have you. There's no way our police force is being, or our legal system is not being destroyed by our professional policemen, lawyers, judges, so on and so forth. So it is the professionals that validate, you know, the image that our youth portray through art. And then the professionals have the audacity to blame the youth for not fighting for a good Nigeria or not standing up for their rights. While you sit down in your office every day, selling those rights, betraying those rights, you know, and practically mortgaging the future of those young people, you know. So I think that is the real problem here. It's not about art, not, you know, art is representing what society is validating. I mean, the musicians can't do more than themselves. I am lucky to be a musician that comes from a background that has allowed me to see beyond that. And it's a lot of sacrifice to see beyond that. And I cannot tell somebody that grew up in poverty. Me, I grew up all my life traveling to Europe and America, flossing, I was Fela's kid. I mean, I never washed my clothes. I didn't know how my clothes got clean. I mean, I lived the life. My pocket money was some people's salary. You understand what I'm saying? So for me to now suddenly now sit down on my high horse after I've enjoyed all my life with my father, there's some kid that never eaten burger in his life, that is just beginning to make money for, he's the first person in his family to be making some real money. Then they, why don't you give up this money? I'll fight for the people. You know, I think it's a bit harsh. Yeah. You know? So we have to also temper these criticisms of our celebrity with some sort of, you know, balanced, legitimate, also emotional response, because they are human beings too. Right? Cheers.
Cheers. Just my water. Thank you so much. That was a very very deep conversation, and there's so many things I picked from that. And this is one of the reasons why I would like your show. You're very honest about how you feel when you speak your truth, which is much appreciated, right? So the couple of things, right? The first thing is
don't get me wrong, I want to be rich too. I just don't think he's worthy of my soul. Don't get me wrong, that Seun doesn't like money.
Aren't you rich already? Okay, keep quiet.
I'm not rich already. How would you keep quiet? You have money like
keep quiet. I know what you're doing. Keep quiet. Please go on this panel. Let me expose you.
On this platform.
Okay. So you I put someone who is creeping into my, okay, I think I've muted you now. Perfect. All right, Seun, you said a couple of things which, you know, I want to sort of like dig deeper into, which will lead us to the next sort of like question. Now, you spoke about the roles of professionals. Now, that is a discussion for another day, because honestly, the professionals are actually one of the crucial stakeholders that can lead us out of the current situation. But we're sort of kind of like put that on the side today.
They are the vanguard. They are the vanguard of it. They have to be at the forefront.
Yes, I
mean,
could agree.
Without the Nigerian professionals engaging with revolutionary movements to liberate Nigeria, they will just continue in the same circle, and they cannot be changed. You know, it can't be. Cannot be.
But you know what? I have a slightly different view, because that word celebrity is a very abused word. I'm glad that
exactly.
People have told me, Audu, a celebrity. I'm not a celebrity. I work for them, but I'm not a celebrity.
Or media entrepreneur and influencer in the space because of by the virtue of your status
of things that I've done. So guess what? You are a celebrity yourself, because you've gathered this big celebrity, Seun, and us workers, and all these people on this call have a conversation.
Big celebrity, Seun?
Yes, and the workers like myself, right, on this platform. And
I'm a working class musician.
Oh God, we're not going to go.
Living in a working class neighborhood.
But seriously, what I believe is, what I really believe is that a celebrity is someone who's celebrated for achieving something in their respective roles. Bill Gates is no less a celebrity than Dangote, or Dangote more than Otibamjo. Or do you know what I'm saying? It's really about getting to the peak of whatever your career is. Mm-hmm. So I agree with Seun that every person has a role to play. The truth is that in the banking sector, if I was the MD of a bank, my celebrity in quotes will affect how that bank operates. That's the influence I can. So if we divvy up the responsibilities and stop saying, oh, because you have 1 million followers, you can change the world, but knowing that with your 10 followers, you can change the world, absolutely, then it will change the way we think about this whole celebrity thing. And also de-emphasize on that celebrity for the younger people. You know, but I mean, yeah.
So, let me come in there, Audu. I totally agree with you. And on this platform, we've brought people from lawmakers to professionals to different people. Now, what we try to do is sometimes when you want to solve a big problem, you can't categorize too much. It's saying, where do we fit in the larger scheme of things? What is our role as the stakeholder, as that stakeholder? Now, if you notice, there's a theme today. and it's talking about sort of like the entertainment industry, right? So celebrities in this sort of context is about those key players, the people at the peak of the career, the celebrated people. Sean, whether I like it or not, you are a celebrity in your field, you know.
Okay.
Yes, we have celebrities in the professional field. Just give me a minute.
Can I just jump in? Okay.
Just give me a minute. We have celebrities in the professional space and all that. But today, what we're trying to achieve with this conversation is, look, Nigerian entertainment, when you're talking about, you know, the movie, especially the movie and the music industry, there's been like a global push, right? For example, a lot of people are more curious about Nigerian African because of our music. There's sort of like a psychological thing to it. Also, Nollywood as well. What I like is that Nollywood plays a role in a lot of like cultural reorientation, right? And you see a lot of movies like Fourth Republic, Lovers War. They have infusion of comedy, but they really project a lot of things. And as Seun said, the entertainment projects where we are right now, you know? Okay, I think we lost Seun, but I'm sure he's gonna join back. But the entertainment scene right now.
You didn't lose me.
Okay.
You didn't lose me. I just put off my video.
All right, don't leave us, Seun. Great. So, you know, the entertainment.
I'm right here.
The entertainment industry right now projects where we are as a nation. And you know, Seun said something, right? That music is the purest form of art. It's the representation of people and things happening. So I wanted to sort of like concentrate on that particular thing.
Okay.
And the reason I'm saying that is because we're trying to explore how the sector that has been undermined by the government, how it's been termed an informal sector, yet is a major contributor to global exports, you know, has been able to influence the minds and the hearts of people. Big Brother, for example, the followership of Big Brother is crazy. The celebrities themselves are crazy, but people love to watch them. The subscription to Big Brother in comparison to people that voted last year, it shows the kind of society we are. And I'm not being judgmental because I watch Big Brother. I watch it for a particular reason because it gives me a better sense into how we think. And sort of like, you know, it's interesting, to be honest. And so for me is, now how can we sort of like harness all the things we're seeing to sort of like pave the way for the scene. Now you said something, Seun, celebrities, artists, they represent the society, they have communities. And one thing you've noticed is, so for I'll use Big Brother again. You realize that there's a lot of war that goes on social media. Thatcher fans, Messi fans, this one fans. Do you understand? And I can bet you today that if a Messi says, "Oh, this is, you know, election is coming, guys. I want you to vote," you know, there's a way they sort of like just they connect with people beyond the politicians. People listen more to these influential figures, right? So it's just to say, like, how can we start harnessing this and tapping into this? And this leads me to my next question, which I'm sure Seun will also like, you know, so both of you will get it. And it's, how would you rate the depth of understanding of Nigerian celebrities? Now, celebrities in the context, I don't want us to go right and wrong, like, who is a celebrity right now? It's just talking about the key players in your space, the guys who are popular in your space and the influential figures. Yeah, so just to stand corrected. Now, how would you rate the depth of understanding of Nigerian celebrities on critical social issues that plague our country? Now, just before you go, I'm going to start with you, Audu, and then Seun can jump on that. Before I go there, now, Seun, there's a certain sense of social awareness that influences your art and the way you portray, the way you project to people. There's a deep sense of care. You don't come on social media and just say things. People know you as a straight talker. You don't care who the government is, but if you feel there's something wrong, you will talk about it. I mean, I've watched a lot of the videos talking about the electricity bill, talking about a lot of issues. Although as well, you condemned, you know, the Kaduna killings, a lot of things. And that's because of you've actually made that conscious effort to understand the social issues you're facing. Now, to my question is, how would you rate now the depth of understanding of Nigerian celebrities in our context, right, on critical issues that plague our country? I'm going to start with you, Audu, and then please, Seun, free to jump. Yeah.
So let me just say that, first of all, I think the real issue is around, and I think Seun spoke to that, is your cultural values, or shall I say your nurture, right? Because he came from a family where it was important to connect with the people and be aware of the social issues, his interpretation of that affects what he does today. The same thing with me. I came from a family where my father's a lawyer as well. I come from a family of lawyers, and my mother was an entrepreneur. So how they brought me up taught me to be a certain way and to value certain things above other things. Trust me, there are things that I could have done in my career that could have been very lucrative for me financially that I said no to because it wasn't essential to what my purpose was. So the first thing has to come with a national reorientation, which is saying, what do we hold valuable? And that's what Seun was saying earlier, that if the value is pop champagne, buy a house, nobody cares about how you got the house or whatever the source of your income is, then everything shall be directed towards that. So Big Brother is a big deal because it's simple. It's called microwave celebrity. In 30 days, you have 2 million followers and you can go on to be a big star. Who doesn't want that? I mean, who wants to go to the farm if you can microwave the crops? So that's what social media and platforms like that do. They microwave the process. But the truth is that you cannot build anything by microwave. Indeed, you have to cook your food before you get it to microwave level. It's hard to microwave anything from zero to being fully cooked. And that's what we have. So the minute Nigeria begins, and this is where the government and orientation comes into this. What's our history? We don't know. What brings us together? We don't know. What are our values? We don't care. Just be rich, just be popular, that's all. Now, because of that, the musicians, the celebrities, the actors, they have to act a certain way. Now, do you know that in America, like I watched a video just yesterday, T.I. the rapper. T.I. the rapper was in a Rolls Royce, right? His son was driving him, and his son was in the back, and he said to them, he said, we're going to get reparations for all the slave trade that happened. So Lloyd's of London financed all the slave ships that came from America to Africa. And he said, we're going to start a movement where we're going to take 10% of the net worth of Lloyd's of London. He said, look, I'm okay. I have a Rolls Royce. I have Rolls Royces. But I want every Black person in America to have one. And that starts with us getting you $1 million. Now think about that.
If we use all our money to buy Rolls Royce, we are giving it back to white people. That's what we want to use reparations for.
That's another conversation altogether. I mean, he was probably smoking something. But the point though is that he was socially conscious enough to know that he has the power, right? That he has the power to get people to line up because of the, and he was walking around the street and telling people, join me, join me, join me. Now he started signing up some big people. And the point is that in Nigeria, have you ever heard of anybody sitting down and saying, I want to do a selfless thing for my people? Not because it benefits my social followership, not because it puts money in my pocket. Nobody talks about those things. Very few of them. I mean, if you're looking at, forget the Kutis, right? They're a special breed of people. In current pop culture today, probably one of the most conscious musicians I know is Falz. He's the only person who's talking about something, and he's really, every other person, with all due respect to every other person, is how can we become richer? How can we get endorsement deals? Because guess what? Fela would never get an endorsement deal. You know it. He would never be endorsed. All the companies are afraid to endorse him because he talks against the people. Some of us have lost a lot of business because of our stance about things. It comes as a sacrifice. Seun can be doing pop music, popping champagne as well. He's not doing that because it comes to a sacrifice for what is essential. So my question then is, let's go back to zero. When we bring up our kids, we must teach them the essential value of life. That is not about Naira and Kobo. It's about something that's intangible, and money can buy that. And I think that that's a good point to start from. But let me stop here.
Okay, sure. Let me let you jump in, then I will comment on that.
Well, you know, I think first and foremost, you know, to get this national shift, there must be a political will.
Yep.
There must be a political will because the platforms that use as musicians in Nigeria is not owned by the people, it's all privately controlled. So how many times do they play Fela's music on the radio in a week? Is it because Fela's music is not sweet? How many times did they play my music? So when it comes to the kind of consciousness that drives society, you know, they always want to say, oh, music the kind of music you listen to does not influence your behavior, does not have anything to do. I mean, look at all the movies we watch that they kill people. How come people don't get influenced by Arnold Schwarzenegger? The artist is just himself. But the difference between music and movie is that, you know, your favorite one will be 3-4 times a year. And there's no time you are lying down in your reminiscing about the favorite parts of your movie that they were killing people, you know. But when it comes to your favorite song, you are playing that shit head 100 times a day, listening to it on your phone 30 times a day, humming it in your bathroom. There's a different kind of relationship to the information that you receive from music, you know. And it is not only in Nigeria. So I don't want us Nigerians to blame Nigerian artists, you know, for something that is affecting the African consciousness globally. So the way Nigerian musicians glorify crime, abuse Black women, and espouse materialism, that's the same thing African musicians in America do. You can listen to 1 million songs from Black rappers in America. They don't shoot one single white person. But every other line is how to shoot a nigger. How to make sure a Black person cannot look you in the face just because you have money. Just to tell them how much better you are than all your brothers. So we begin to create social spaces that take our consciousness, like the clubs. And Black people gather in these social spaces, from religious social spaces that this consciousness has created, to social spaces like clubs, parties. And Africans engage in these spaces in large numbers, right? Every week. But we do not engage communally in these spaces. But back in the day, we as spiritual people engage like that. That's why we still do it. We engage in our spiritual processions. We engage in large numbers in our social processions. This is what African people do. You know, but now the spirits, the worldview of those spaces have been co-opted by our oppressors, who have now injected a spirit of division, of competitiveness. So we're in the clubs, right? We're at the concerts, the social events, the weddings, the namings, being better than our brothers, not communally meeting, not coming together to actually share something. No, but to come together to, you know, dominate or show that, yes, I'm better than you. So we go to clubs, it's about who can pop the most champagne, and you have the song fueling that.
Collaboration. Yeah.
So, yeah. So even in the churches, you wear your Sunday best so that you can compare with what everybody has, who has the best of the Sunday best. So there's nothing communal, there's nothing brotherly, there's nothing sisterly. And this is the patriarchy of Europe. This is the masculine spirit of Europe, you know, that has completely penetrated the entire consciousness of African people, where the feminine energy that was of value to us, you know, is completely relegated to the background now, you know, and African women even confuse movement to try and be like white men as a movement to empower women, while they negate the feminine energy that makes them women and powerful in the first place. You understand? So for me, these are the many contradictions that we as African people live within that creates the insanity, we like to call it, that rules our nation. So when you ask if African musicians are conscious enough to operate on what platform? So I'm a conscious artist. How many platforms am I invited to by the people that control the platforms? How many OAPs just go off on their own and say, man, Seun Kuti is so dope, man. I've been listening to this album, the way they hype all these other people every day and night, or say it about my brother, you know. People come and tell me like, oh, you didn't come and apply to enter our event. I'm like, I'm musical royalty. Are you crazy? Do you think Sean Lennon goes to apply? Well, John Lennon's son's name is Sean, you know, and he's my homeboy, so Sean and Sean, you know. So, or the children of Bob Dylan or Elvis or any of these guys, you know, will go and if you truly love it, that's why I tell people that nobody loves my father in this country. It's just a show. Because if you truly love and respect Fela, I am the bloodline, direct musical royalty flowing through my blood. I should just be waltzing through Nigeria. And people be like, oh, let us kiss the ring. Let us kiss the ring, sir. I'll say, oh, don't be like that. Don't be like that. Come on. I'm not, come on. No. There's none of that. So, you know, they expect me because they do not, you know, even respect because they actually disrespect what my father stands for. Reducing Fela to some kind of weed smoking, women chasing excuse, you know. So they expect me to also disrespect my father that way and not recognize what I truly am, you know, which is musical royalty, which means I know what I deserve, and if I can't get that, then fuck all of you, you know. So I'll give you an example, you know. Some awards, I don't want to name names, like, oh, you did not enter our award, that's why we did not nominate you. But I didn't enter for the Grammys neither, and the Grammys called me up and be like, well, yo, they didn't call, they wrote an email. Like, yo, Mr. Koi, we love your album. You do so, like, why did you enter your album? We want you to be a part of our event. And Fela is not even American, you know. So if some quick award ceremony in Nigeria that he to be catching you inside the hall, is that telling me that because I did not enter for the award?
Okay, sure. That's oh my God.
No, so I just want you to know that the platform is not there to encourage conscious artists. So this is, as I said, like, I will not sit down here and be like, oh, yes, I feel like when artists have now made it, they have money. It is also a deliberate effort for them to ignore where they've come from, you know, because we just live in a society that encourages materialism, and they've been used to a certain value of themselves, that their value is tied to their material possessions. Many people are nothing without the things that they own. It is the thingification of society, you know, where human beings are only of value also if they can be thingified and used. So all our musicians, as successful as they are being used. If you are not being used, you can't be successful. You are a thing, the only thing we are, because that is the capitalist relationship with Africa, with blackness. We are commodity. Whether they don't sell us anymore like they used to sell us in ships, but the only relationship capitalism can have with Africanness and blackness is of commodity. That's why all our things that cannot be sold are of no value to the system. Our culture, our history, you know, our children, they can no longer sell them, they cannot work yet, you know, our education and things like that, our forests, our oceans, you know, these things that can be sold, that cannot be commodified, are of no value to anybody, being destroyed, being abused, you know. So this is the true relationship that we exist in, and we have to confront that. We cannot rise above that situation as if it is in existence and expect people who are actually, you know, a product of that system to suddenly have an enlightenment that we have refused to validate. So it's all about validation. If everybody stopped listening to all this music today and say, no, if I'm not making political music, I'm not listening, music will change. You see, because to liberate Africa, to liberate our country, to liberate ourselves is a deliberate effort. It is not something that we can just will into existence. It is not something that we can just wish it was happening. It is not something we can zoom meeting into existence. We have to become deliberate about it. That's okay. From today, it is a deliberate, conscious effort I am making. It has to be deliberate, you know, because without that, then the continued thingification of society will continue. And, you know, I mean, I always tell people that from the top to the bottom of Nigerian society, you know, everybody is used to, that's how they are successful. Even the richest man in Nigeria, I say to people, when you think about Bill Gates, you can say, oh, this man made Microsoft. You can imagine what he made, what he added to his country to become rich. You know, you have to add something. In Africa, it is extractors that become rich. So people that don't add anything, they just take what we have, extract it from us, and sell it back to us, especially at heartless, ridiculous prices. You know, so and that is how wealth is accumulated.
Joe, I'm going to say something. But if I may, let me jump on something. I think this is very important.
Yeah.
Number one, I don't really care what kind of music you do. you know what I'm saying? And because when we think about it, music is a function of what society wants. If society says it's twerking,
Exactly.
we twerk on. So that may have to change. I don't know how long that will take. But I do know that there's a responsibility to use your power for the greater good. So
yeah, but Audu, this is the issue. This is the issue, though. This is why, this is what I'm saying. Like, many of our celebrities need to continually make funds to survive.
Yeah.
So we cannot detach their political statement from the economic backlash.
I totally agree. I agree.
This is what I'm saying.
I agree.
I want a situation where artists like me, like, okay, fine. I have no corporate backing, no political backing, fuck the system, but have a massive popular following.
I hear you, but listen, what I'm saying.
But there's an issue in Nigeria where our elite, have been able, unlike any other place in the world, or most places in the world, the elites in Nigeria have been able to corner all the institutions of influence completely, to the level whereby people even ask me, after I've been nominated for a Grammy in Nigeria, Seun, when I go to release album.
No, but Seun, hold on. You see, the point I'm trying to make, however, is this: that you see, sometimes we confuse what we do with who we are. They're two different things.
Yeah.
I'm a lawyer. I've worked in several different things, but that's not who I am. The law is my profession, right? Among other things, I write, I do all sorts of different things, but that's not who I am. That's what I do. I'm saying that if you're an actor, even if you're acting in a porn movie, the fact that you have celebrity power should be used for the greater good in spite of your commercial stuff. That does not mean, so I'll give an example. It doesn't mean that as an actor, I can't set up a fund that supports people that want to get politically educated. You know what I'm saying? It's different from my commercial fund. What?
No, I said the little things, those little things that can then...
So I'm just going back. I'm going back to our
value. Do you also believe that ideology matters?
So let me finish now.
Do you believe that ideology matters?
Hold on now. Let me.
Do you believe that ideology matters, though?
Of course it matters. But the point I'm making about... Hold on now. Let me land.
Okay, go on.
Let me land. The point I'm trying to make is just simply this, that if we value, and it goes back to the root of the value system, is that if we value giving back, not for showing off, but for really giving back, then it means that even whether you're a dancer, a musician, or whatever it is, once you're making commercial stuff, you can put your money and resources to support causes that make people to be better. And I'm saying that there's almost no reward system in Nigeria and in Africa for that. That is why somebody who, like a YouTube, Bono is now more popular for what he's done as a charitable person than even the music. That's why Bill Gates is now more popular as a philanthropist than this computer genius. In Nigeria, look at all the big people that we have. What are they known for apart from? And so I'm agreeing with you that we're more extractive than productive. But I'm saying that for us...
Yeah, but also, I mean, I don't even think Nigerian artists engaging in charity works and sustaining this culture of dependency on our elites, like our movies constantly portray, where all the poor people are bad and African gods are sucking your life until white Jesus or some elite come to bless you with some of their goodness to lift you out of the wickedness of the poor and the black, you know, because this mindset also is destructive, you know, is alienating also. You know, I feel like ideology matters. So our artists need to decide. And I was having a conversation with MI one time, and I told him, any artist in Nigeria that decides to speak for the Nigerian people, honestly, will have to commit class suicide. Because we all know that Nigerian elites, they commit more to entertainment than to education in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Hence, the ability of the Nigerian artists to be on top of the game of African music globally. Because none other of the African countries can compete with the kind of resources that is poured into Nigerian artists. I'm not saying our talent is not there too, and we need to have the talent to utilize those resources, you know. So
yeah, but the question is that there's
an already established romance there's an strong established romance between the Nigerian artists and the ruling elites.
So,
between Nigerian artists and the ruling elites. So for them for many of them to commit that class suicide, it's difficult because it's the same reason a professional in the bank will refuse not to go and launder money when they give him the order, because he doesn't want to lose the job. Because that is really the job. Our relationship to our elites in Nigeria is truly your job, regardless of the field you are in. If you're a tailor, you have to keep your elites customer if you want to make it, because the working class and poor are not paid enough to keep your business afloat.
So let me come in.
You understand?
I get you, Seun. I understand what you're saying. But what I hear is a lot of the problems that we have. Look, we understand these issues, to be honest. And sometimes we kind of overflow these issues. And I will tell you something. You said something, just taking you a step back. You said, but now we have to act more intentional and more consciously. And I will tell you something. In the corporate space, this act of being intentional is what led to the rise of social entrepreneurship. At the moment in Africa, we still operate with a capitalist mindset. On the global scale, you're seeing, like you said, what's it called? A Bono is known more for his charitable work than his music now. A Bill Gates is known more than this. Are they still doing business? Yes. But now, let me tell you what they've realized. That everything revolves around human beings. Market is determined by human behavior. It influences human consumption. And for me personally, I kind of feel like until Nigerians understand that our celebrity is inclusive, we will not rise above the current narrative you're speaking. Yes, there's oppression.
Exactly.
Just a minute. There's oppression, there's suppression from the elite class. They control a lot of things. But also what social media has done is the fact that sometimes you can be unpopular, but you can still commercialize that. That's what social media has done. A lot of celebrities that politicians might not like these days, that the government might not like these days. Unfortunately, you will see the private sector take it, sort of endorsing them because the people say yes. And who are the consumers at the bottom of the pyramid consuming from the private sector? It is the people.
So let me continue. Who is this artist that the politicians don't like? Excuse me, wait. Who is this artist that politicians don't like that is endorsed?
Just hold on. Today's not
Give me an example. I want to learn. This is a learning moment for me. You're about to give me a big information I don't think exists. That is a Nigerian artist.
No.
So let me land. I can understand your agitation.
No, continue to land.
I will go there, but let me say something. I can understand your agitation. First of all, Seun, you do a lot of like conscious music. Unfortunately, a lot of people do not appreciate that. Same with your father. In fact,
a lot of people do. Why are you saying?
Okay, let me just finish.
Downgrade my fans.
Appreciate that, but the elite class might not, because they see you as someone that goes against them or comes to like speak the truth to the people. And sometimes that could be uncomfortable for a lot of people. The same way Fela as well spoke his truth. He led the revolution. Even in his death right now, right? He still rises. I'm a younger generation. I grew up listening to Fela. I might not have understood it then, but now that I'm more conscious, it influences a lot of things, right? And so whether we like it or not, the actions of celebrities, the words that they speak, because they drive a community, because they can shape mindset, psychologically, physically, emotionally connect with people, that forms a very core and fundamental part of society. Now, I want to say something like, I hear two things. So Audu, you're saying that the onus is on celebrities to act consciously. Yes, there are issues in the system and society that act against them, right? But also you can take that decisive and conscious step to sort of see how you can change things. Seun, in a way, subconsciously, you kind of resounded that saying it takes a conscious effort. Now, a lot of things are against them. You talk about mindset, you talk about, perception, upbringing, ideologies, yes. Are those things there? Yes. But what we're trying to achieve is, how can we move from where we are right now to where we want to be? And I'll say something. In the African context, we cannot rely on government. Government is not going to fix us. The private sector, yes. And whether I would like it or not, the African entertainment scene is part of the private sector. So one of the things I think we're not clarifying yet, we cannot separate the entertainment scene from the private sector, because it is a large employer of people, and it also contributes.
I'm sorry,
as well.
What private sector? what private sector? These banks that are overcharging us.
So it is informal, but it contributes significantly in terms of in terms of internal generated revenue and in terms of global export. And we can actually start seeing, so take a step back and say, how can we tap into this? Now, before you guys actually say something, let me say this, right? Now, we've seen a couple of celebrities that have led certain efforts, right? In their own small ways, and it's triggered a couple of things. Unfortunately, these things are not sustained for some of the reasons, that you've said, the environment, the perception, people are not in tune with what is happening in society and they want to hear that, blah, blah, blah. But here's the thing, what I want to know, and I'm going to start with you, Audu, right? What I want to know is, how can your industry rise beyond this narrative, the issues that Seun has talked about, right? The common barriers we've talked about that we've agreed on or we've not agreed on. How can your industry rise above this, right? To drive sustained conversations and desired social change. The reason why this conversation is so crucial is, look, guys, we have 31 months to the next general election. We've had a succession of vicious politicians, like recycled waste products. They keep coming and coming and coming. And the thing is that we're tired, but we're tired and we keep quiet. But what we're trying to achieve is, despite all the issues that we're facing, despite those cons that seem to outweigh our pros, what is that silver lining that we can pick from? And how can we harness that? How can your industry harness that to sort of shape this narrative and do something different with it? I'm going to start with you, Audu, and then Seun can jump on that.
Okay, so I'm glad that we're moving to solutions, because for me, I like solutions. Like, we can talk about problems forever and ever. But I'd like to start with real clear examples of people who have done this before and again and again. I think that social media has democratized communication in a huge way. And I find that when somebody tweets something that is real and authentic, it can get 20,000 retweets. But when you tweet something that is really either silly or just funny, it might not get that kind of, resonance. Each time a celebrity raises their voice to talk about something that's important, Omotola one time last year tweeted something about governance, and it got retweeted many, many times. Things are not going well in Nigeria, I think the video got involved in the last elections and was supporting somebody that was not PDP or something. And there was all sorts of conversations going on. But I was really happy about that. I was happy that at that age, he was still taking a side, right? Whatever the side is, he's called. It's politics, anybody can vote for anything he wants to. I found that too, that this last election was not as heavy on celebrities like the 2015 one. Because in 2015, many celebrities were paid to come and advocate for something. And most of them were just were transactions. Nobody cared about what happened thereafter. And for me, this is where my problem starts from. I am very clear that for you to leave a legacy, that's if that is even important to you in the first place, you have to take some really radical steps. And so let me clarify what I was saying before. It doesn't matter what level of celebrity you have in the sector. The social enterprise, the social good part that you're talking about, Ibijoke, is the crucial thing that makes your brand last. We're only talking about Fela today because of his activism.
Absolutely.
The music is fantastic, but it's really what he stood for. And the truth is that you need to know that sometimes we plant a seed, but you might not unplug the fruit. You might not be the one who plucked the fruit. And that's the reality of it today, that it starts. But guess what? Once there are big movements and people are going out and doing things, people like to copy. People are not, so if you look at it statistically, people are conformists. So the minute there's a movement, and what celebrities have the power to do is to massify communication. They have something called social capital, and social capital is something you cannot buy. That is why Tiwa Savage will tweet something, or Seun Kuti will tweet something, and it gets so many retweets. And the president will tweet something, and you see 400 retweets. Nobody really cares because the young people are disconnected. So the first thing is that we must use every tool that we have to harness a goal and support causes that we believe in. not causes that people say you should believe in, because that way it's not going to be authentic, and that's why they die. But if you really believe that you have been the victim of some sort of oppression and you raise your voice to it, you will hear. When the rape issue came out, I think Tiwa Savage and a couple of other people, MI and Seun, they all spoke about it, and people, there's a huge change already. People are, one, getting better informed about female gender equality. That's a fact. There are groups now actively talking about, okay, we think we need to chill, we need to start behaving ourselves. I was telling you before the call started about this woman who was the ex-MD of NDDC, who just confessed that a serving minister forced her to take bribes and some things. It's all over the news. You can check it out. She probably wouldn't have done this 10 years ago because there was no medium to communicate her message. Now, media has been massified. So I think that it behooves on us who have a voice to use it. Some things I've done in my career, and many things I stand for, it's not because it's commercially viable to me at all. Indeed, it's the total other part of it. But in fact, because I'm an entrepreneur, my money does not come from government. And you, Seun, because you're a music entrepreneur, your money does not come from government as well. It comes from—
I wish it did, though. Especially the kind of money Nigerian government is owing my family.
Well, when we come into power, we'll give it to you. Don't worry. But seriously speaking, the issue is really that we must use what we have for something that is greater than ourselves. And the last thing I want to say about this, I don't want to talk too much, is that what is missing in Nigerian leadership across all spheres is one word, and it's called legacy. Right? It's called legacy. Legacy is what you do that may be uncomfortable now for a greater tomorrow. So if someone sits down and begins to think about what my legacy will be, you begin to act totally different. But if you have a short-term goal in your life, then all you think about is consumption, consumption, consumption. So for us to change our legacy, we must get educated. No matter what sphere of influence we have, we must wield that for something good. And it doesn't always have to be that we're front and center of it. We can just put money to it. We can just retweet. We can just support a company like ELectHER, what we're doing now. Seun's endorsement of ELectHER is big, right? Seun, you have endorsed ELectHER. Good.
Yeah.
And you're paying him with social credibility and capital. He doesn't need cash to do this, you know? So I think that for me,
okay, if you say so.
Thank you so much, Audu. Before you jump in, Seun, I just want to sort of like summarize a couple of things. And, you know, you've said a whole lot in your conversation. As I said, this is about solutions. What can we do differently? You've talked about, you know, celebrities in the space, harnessing the social capital, understanding the power of social media as a new platform to multiply conversations. You're talking about, you know, the conversation about rape culture, you know, a lot of things that happened. Even the social media bill, how it was shut down, it was the power of social media. A lot of oppression and suppression, you know, the oppression against SARS. A lot of those things that we've seen, and that's because of the advent of social media. What it's done is it's been able to connect people from different backgrounds, from different areas across the world to really agree on a particular issue and all that. You also talked about one thing that celebrities need to understand is the people are disconnected from the government, and that's very true. That's very true. Like I said, the president could tweet something now, but if Seun tweets something, you can be sure that it's going to get more retweets. And I think the more celebrities are conscious about the power of their status and what it could really do, especially in leading conversations on really stirring people up to really, you know, to let's say now what to ginger people, that can be very powerful. I'm going to reference something. So, you know, one person that I've been studying a lot in the UK is Stormzy. Stormzy is popular and is unpopular. Stormzy is radical. I mean, what was the very big music event that he performed at last year? It was on that stage for hours just speaking about social injustice. And that really shaped the mindset of a lot of people. Why? It was coming from Stormzy. That's the power of his voice. Also, just by one tweet in 2019, this guy mobilized 360,000 voters. Now, did he have to lose anything? No. So that's what we're talking about, the social capital. The fact that you connect with people on a psychological, on a psychological front and also a social front as well. And we need to tap into that. So I'm gonna open the floor for you now, Seun. I'd love to hear from you.
Audu.
Can you hear me?
First and foremost, Audu. Fela is still known because of his music. His activism is just, don't diminish the music.
No, I didn't diminish. No, I didn't diminish. I said, in spite of that, some of the things that is the reason why he's in high esteem. Don't get me in trouble now. I don't have a problem.
That music, I say that music, say, the music of Fela minus his activism. The music of the music.
No doubt. Okay. Well, okay. Let's move on. We're together.
So I'll now start. I'll start my response by saying, as I was saying before, ideology for me is everything. We have to agree on ideological grounding as African people to even start now discussing any of the things that we think we need to discuss to move forward. So when we're discussing about celebrities, you notice we're only talking about music and sports, because this is the only space that African people are allowed to shine and have conversations on the platform of the capitalist world. Now, to build a nation, you need celebrity engineers that are inspiring young people, that are so famous for some bridges that they've built, for some construction that the government has invested in them to be able to complete, on some canals that they did, on some, these are the things you need. A celebrity scientist, not celebrity transvestites and celebrity gay people and celebrity tailors and celebrity actors and celebrity musicians and celebrity. This is what I'm saying. Like, the conversation is not wide enough for us to actually even have the power to bring about national change. There has to be a drive going about in the professional world where we are beginning to have celebrity historians, celebrity theoretical physicists, celebrity rocket scientists, because our government is creating already these programs nationally in our country that is inspiring the millions of Nigerians that are talented in this field but are wasting away because there's no. So when people are just saying celebrity, and when we talk about the private sector being some kind of savior, this is a lie. This is a bold-faced lie. We are still telling ourselves this kind of lie in 2020 that the private sector in Nigeria is some kind of saving grace to the Nigerian people, then we are doing ourselves a great disservice, because that means we are telling our children the most fundamental lie that has been sold to us, that has put us in this same place that we are today. You cannot tell me that these private schools and private hospitals and private banks and private tailors and private whatever business that is going on in Nigeria, that is making sure that they charge Nigerians the highest fee that they can to extract the highest profit in every single little field, is some kind of, it's impossible to see this. They are exploiters. They are exploiters giving the capability, the ability to exploit with the, we'll go back to that, with the oppressive elite. Show me the private industry today that is booming without the support of our stolen money. Let's be honest. Let's now go to the nitty-gritty. Let's go maybe accept Indomie noodles. And is Indomie noodles Nigerian company?
No, it's not.
That will not even go back to the fact that majority of our major industries in Nigeria is controlled by foreigners, leaving only crumbs for us to struggle for in the local field. So what is this celebrity narrative? Why is it that it's only musicians that are celebrities in the black world? Where are the intellectuals? Why is it that it's Seun Kuti that has to come and speak intellectually for black people? Where are our intellect professors? In the past, Foundation, Taiso Larin, Ganesh Fryme were rising up. So what has happened to this society that we are not having those kind of people in our society anymore? Only people that are willing to regurgitate the status quo, and that is what I repeat. We might talk about Stormzy, but all Stormzy is saying is trying to make black people better capitalists. And that cannot save black people. That's what Jewish people understood after 1945. The Jewish people were the greatest entrepreneurs in Europe on the eve of the Second World War. Entrepreneurship did not save them. It is only nationalist ideologies, Pan-Africanist nationalist ideology, reorientating our mind to decide, I'll say this again, to become deliberate, to decide what we truly want to be. If we want to be exploiters of our people, or want to be a generation that will truly liberate our people. If to become perfect capitalists is the goal here that we are discussing, then complain, because Nigeria is already the most capitalist society in the world. Let's strap up our boots and tap into it better. and see how many of our brothers we can employ. But if we believe that it is the human value that we are about, it is the raising of our nation that is truly our prerogative, then it is the human development that must be our prerogative, not economic development. Because economic development is all about whiteness. Economic development at any level enriches Europe, America, and China. The only way for us to enrich ourselves is human development. So imagine a government program, policy, or through the people, so say, okay, we want to give Nigerians a world health service. That will employ at least 10 million Nigerians by the time that program is over, because you need, in 774 local government, you need 774 health centers, both major and some sublets for all these things that doctor needs. Then you need training of paramedics. Then you need training of ambulance drivers. The people that will train them. Then you need the people that will repair the ambulance. Then at some point you will say, okay, we can't be importing all this ambulance. We need to make ambulances. You know, the surgeons that we need to train, the nurses that we need to train to service all the 774. I mean, imagine what will happen, the kind of transformation that Nigeria will go through just by one government deciding to truly develop the people by giving them good health care. The other government says we want to give them good education, because these are the things that will truly develop Nigeria. These are the social responsibilities and investments that must be made. You know, but instead of that, the government wants to cut investment in that and keep investing in the private sector, give private sector different kind of cuts, because we believe in these lies that continue to negate us. So we as the professionals now become some kind of local government for our family. So your cousin is sick, because you are enjoying the largesse of bad policy. You now have to be the one to give him money to go to private hospital. You be the one to borrow them money to pay school fees. You will be forming local government, because that also gives you a form of attachment to the elites that you serve so much, because you know your family has to bow to you now. Nobody can talk to you to just the way we cannot talk to the government. Nobody can talk to you, your family, because you are the big man, take care of everybody. You are the local government, you know. So these are the mindsets we must shake loose. We have to be honest. If we truly want to be honest, we have to be tired of only musical and sporting celebrities. More celebrities like Audu, you know, but more in the nation building sector, and these boring jobs, celebrity accountants, you understand, to go into the ministry and do the good job, you know. Look at our civil service, for Christ's sake. Who is a celebrity that is building the nation that children are proud of, you know, looking up to and things like that, you know? So for me, this is what I see as the things that are missing. Ideology is missing in what we want. We're thinking, oh, economy for those that are rich, or those that only believe that wealth is the only definition of wealth is luxury, because the people are economy too. So why are we not talking about the development of that side of the economy? Why is it that we are cool living with 110 million Nigerians in poverty, while 40 million of us are barely making it, you know, and everybody else is just exploiting the rest? That system must change if we really want progress, you know. So that's my own take. If we are talking about celebrities, let's look for our celebrity nation builders in the professional world, where they have the skill to actually build nations.
I agree with what you're saying, and you know, you're very profound in saying that. And if you've actually, I mean, this is the first ELectHER session you're actually, you know, participating in. And if for people that have joined us in past editions, so you know, they'll realize that what we've done is that we've kind of broken down these issues, right, to sort of ensure that we can sort of represent society the way we engage. So for this purpose, I'm not disputing.
Yeah, but the way we are, there's no separating.
I'm not,
you know, everything is
the fact that we need celebrity nation builders.
So intertwined, you know.
It's intertwined, and I agree with you. I agree with you perfectly, right? I'm resounding that. However, you know, platforms like this, you're not going to have that kind of conversation in 1 hour, 2 hours, right? And that's what we're trying to say, that, okay, in your specific space, what can you do, right? Like I said, we've brought professionals, bankers, people that that are doing well in their space and sort of can also influence their space as well. So of course the outlook is, we're definitely in sync with your sort of like perspective, right? But what I'm now talking about is we're saying that, okay, going from the entertainment space now, in this space, what can we do? Now we're not dispelling the,
we have to help organize,
intertwine, and having that collective like growth as a nation. What we are saying is, in this space now, before you continue, let me say something. My question to you is this: you've talked about orientation, you talked about ideology. So my question is, how do we get to this point where we can start shaping the ideology and the orientation? Because we can talk about the issues. Here is the idea, there is poverty,
I think we need to help organize ourselves.
Or how can we do that?
We have to help organize ourselves.
How do we organize ourselves?
Organization is also key. You know?
Okay.
Exactly. So this is why I said, for me, that's why I said ideology first. So we have to find like-minded people who have the same vision for Nigeria, but with the love of people in their hearts. You know, so for me, being a socialist Pan-Africanist, I know not everybody might agree with me, but I want to organize along those lines. You know, so I have the Nigerian resistance movement, and we do the things we do because we also believe that revolution starts. You know, revolution is actually a theoretical expression. You know, the action that people see in revolution is actually the response of the elites, of the oppressors, to the resistance of the awoken population. Because when the population becomes awakened through through some real mental exercises and awakening of their consciousness, we find that there will be more resistance from the people to the oppressive policies of the government. So it is the government that will, and the oppressors that will begin to push back with violence that will create the reaction from the people that leads to this so-called revolution that everybody is clamoring for. So me, I'm really working on that theoretical aspect of educating young people because, you know, we the colonized, we've been bamboozled to mistake the answer for the truth, you know. So you go to school, they say Mungo Park discover River Niger. Because it's the black person like you telling you, you completely trust it. We do not see our education as white education. We just see it as education, we the colonized. So they give you the Mungo Park discover River Niger. So if you want to pass your test, you have to write the answer. Who discovered River Niger? Mungo Park. But that answer is not the same as the truth. Because in reality, Mungo Park did not discover River Niger. Black people were there before him. So we need African-centered education to allow African people to see the world from our own point of view, where we do not grow up seeing our oppression as something that is validated, valued. Because imagine me, a Yoruba child, being taught that stop the killing of twins in Calabar. I mean, what's my business with that? How is that my business? Even if it's not my business, that legislation stop the killing of twins. Why didn't they tell me how they started killing twins in the first place? They started killing twins because white Calabar people used to worship twins. So when white people turned them to Christians, they demonized the twins because the twins were a representation of the gods that the Calabar people used to worship. So twins became demonized because they became Christians. That's why it took a Christian lady to tell them, Jesus Christ doesn't want you to kill the twins anymore. After our ancestors told them to do it in the first place. But we are taught these dehumanizing things about ourselves that keeps us in the shackles at the worldview of our oppressor, where we think that we deserve, you know, the dehumanization that we experience as a people, you know. So for me, that is how I organize. Through the Nigerian resistance movement, we try to educate to liberate. You know, and I call us the liberation generation because I feel that as long as people are, when these mental shackles are broken, people are able to begin to see above materialism. They're able to now see themselves as part of a bigger picture. They're able to see that their success is not defined, right, by the things that the oppressor controls. And it is our oppressor that controls wealth in this country. So if you begin to define your success by those things that they control, then you will never see yourselves as free. So I think helping ourselves to organize has to be the key.
Okay, thank you, Sean. I hear that. I said, you try to speak with younger people, try to encourage them, also using your platform as well. And this is what I've been talking about, right? It's people like you, people, the Wizkids and all those people that people are like, oh yeah, they are celebrities, right? Unfortunately or fortunately, we have to work with the context which we're operating right now. So I'm going to pose this question to you, Audu. We've listened to Seun, and I really understand where he's coming from. And I think he's actually put it very rightly today. But also, like, within your power and your context, is how can we now start organizing? Because one thing the three of us have been able to agree on is we need to change the mindset, which means we need to organize, we need to mobilize. So what are the critical steps we need to take, to do this? How do we start organizing young people and propagating the ideology for a prosperous new Nigeria? Can you please talk about that?
I mean, like we've talked quite a lot, and for me, I think it's really about political participation. I think that people just have to get involved in politics. That's just the truth about it. Like when all is said and done, we can tweet all we want, we can talk all we want. If you have no power, you have no power.
You have no power, man.
Yeah, you have no power. I mean, for me, one of the most brilliant quotes I heard in the past 10 years was Game of Thrones when the lady said, "Power is power." Somebody said, "Wisdom is power." He said, "No, power is power." I don't know what's that thing on Game of Thrones. Is it Cersei or whatever that girl was? And she showed the guy that, look, it's not by mouth. Celebrity must be converted into some kind of power because at that point it's only potential. It becomes kinetic when it's gone into some sort of level. So I'm excited to see people that are running for office. And what I'm afraid though is that some of them get into office and then they get lost. They get lost and sucked into the system.
Yeah.
But that is where the conscience of the nation pressures them. Let me tell you something that's happening around the world. Look, the world is changing for the better. The number of exposés that have gone on in this year alone are unprecedented. In Nigeria today, you find that people are actually speaking openly. Women are voicing out. These rape issues that women have been hiding their pain for years. This inequality that women suck it up and say, you know what, it's a man's world. Now women are saying, no, it's not enough. I'm not taking that anymore. Young people are saying, sorry, because you're older than me, you can't be rude to me. Sorry, age doesn't give you the right to be rude to me. People are saying now that I don't care how powerful you are, at the end of the day, if you talk rubbish on Twitter, I'll reply you and nothing will happen. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's what's happening. So I think there's a seismic change and we must take advantage of that momentum to change things. I know ELectHER is talking about having more females in power. I'm a huge advocate for women in power. Not because I'm trying to be politically correct. No, it's not that. It's that I believe that the reason why I'm here is because a woman gave birth to me, right? And that balance is what makes me. But I know that women are better equipped, and I know some men will flog me for this, but women are more equipped for the world today than men are. Because women can multitask. They can do several things. They have a conscience. You see, you can walk to a man and say, here's $50 million contract. I'm not saying, obviously, these are blanket statements, so don't take them literally. But I'm saying, in terms of the numbers and the sheer number of women, I mean, we're talking about how women presidents handle coronavirus better than the male presidents in many countries, simply because women have this power. So we want these women to amplify that power because now, before you are afraid to talk because they will see your face, it will affect you whether you get married or not. Those things have changed. Women are now stepping up, and we need more women in power in government. It's a shame that we have a National Assembly, we have 7 people out of 100 and something senators, 7, right? Meanwhile, the population of women is probably higher than men in Nigeria as well. So there's no real representation from that angle. It's simply the same old game. So political participation for me is number 1. And you can leverage your celebrity because guess what? How does politics work? The popular person, not all the time, but mostly being popular helps your cause to win election, right? So if you're popular and you can mobilize people, look at kudos to Banky W. He had his attempt. I know he's going to do in 2023, and we need more people like that. But we must go beyond Twitter. And this is the key part that we miss.
Yeah.
You see, politics is not about Twitter. It's not about social media. All politics is local. If your local government, you cannot call your local government chairman and say, hey, and he knows who you are. If you cannot call your councillors and they know who you are, then you're joking to yourself. You're joking with yourself. So it means that as we're celebrities on a global level, let us go back to our locales and empower and help and begin to plant seeds. And those seeds, when they are germinated, will become some sort of clout. Even if you don't run for office, we can determine that things are done rightly. Right. Last thing I want to say is that I think even in the political space, we've gotten it wrong for too long. I was speaking to somebody who works with WHO about the state of the nation in terms of coronavirus a few minutes before this call. And the person told me that the coronavirus is ravishing Nigeria at an alarming rate, that governors are suppressing the information because they don't have the funds to take care of people. So they want to let people go out. So they're suppressing the numbers, right? Now imagine if at every local government level, we had a chairman who at least, I mean, education is not everything, but it helps. At least you're computer literate, you have maybe a WASC or SSE or something. All the councillors are educated. Maybe they have a degree. Maybe they have a, what do you call those things? Those diplomas. Do you know that the level of governance in that local government will change and it will empower people? Because that is the closest level of government to the people. But all we hear is somebody wakes up and says, I want to be president. It's nice. But president doesn't happen because you have $20 million in your account. No, it happens because there is a massified consultation and confirmation and consolidation with everybody that is important in that conversation. That means women groups and professional groups, celebrities and all that stuff. So we must go back to the local government. We must, as celebrities, go and be impactful there first. And then we can grow our strength to the national, regional, state, then national level. And then we can match.
Thank you so much for that. I think you captured it very aptly. So I'm just going to open the lines for one or two calls because we need to wrap up in like 10 minutes. Audu and Seun have been very gracious to offer us the time this evening. So what you need to do is raise your hands and I will unmute just one or two people. Keep it very short, otherwise I will mute you. Yes, I'm savage like that. If you talk too much, keep it very short. I'm not asking you for long comments, just to sort of have like a shared perspective from our audience as well. And then I have one more question to wrap up and then we're done. So guys, please, if you'd like to ask a particular question, please raise your hand and I'll unmute you. Okay, so I've got Sarah. Let me unmute you. Okay, Sarah, you've got the floor, yeah? Sarah, can you hear me?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Sarah.
Hello, nice to meet all of you. Mine is not more of a question. Mine is just the same thing we've been talking about. That's all the plans have always been happening to as well. And then I always have this aspiration that I would like to contest as a female person for the presidential seat coming up. And I don't have a political party and I don't want to be part of PDP or APC because those are good parties and we know what. How about we who have a good mindset coming about to form a political party where we can also bring in our own, candidates for the election and have a massive movement using the celebrities to influence, and we all work together for a better Nigeria. And it has to be the youthful ones who already have the mindset and the liberation picture already that these are the things we are suffering, and we can actually stop this capitalism thing working in Africa right now and in Nigeria and build Nigeria the way it ought to be without losing our culture. Because as for me, if I have a party and have somebody, I don't have the money, but have people who are ready to back me up, I'm willing to become the female president and chase off all these things that we are suffering. So I don't know if it's possible.
Thank you so much, Sarah. That was very bold and that was a very useful question. So, Audu, I can see you shaking your head. Do you want to speak to that? And then, probably if Seun has a comment or two.
Let Seun go first. Let Seun go first on this one.
Come on.
Yeah, for me, as I said, in organizing a movement that can maybe develop into a political party that can really create an opposition to the establishing uni-party system. It's not one party system. I think it's a uni-party because in a way, both parties are basically neo-conservatives, with neo-conservative agendas for Nigeria. They wouldn't want to be single liberal or left, politician in government. Even the Labour Party in Nigeria is right, which is weird. So maybe we can create a real leftist movement for the people of Nigeria, but I don't think presidency is the solution to Nigeria's problem. As I always said before, I think we've had this discussion too, basically during the 2019 election and Shorezo campaign. We need a movement that is strong enough to fight for every political position in Nigeria, from local government to state assembly to executive chairman of the state, to governors, to federal assembly, to presidency, and whatever political position that is available, the party should be strong enough to be representing Nigerian people with its policies in all 724 local governments in this country. So I think that is what is necessary. You know, the president can only.
Sean, are you there?
I think it may have.
Yeah, I think we might have lost it. Okay, Audu, do you want to jump in and then Sean?
Yeah. I just want to say, first of all, Sarah, you have my vote. If you're running, I definitely am going to vote for you. I believe that we're at that space, but I think it takes more than just words. I think we need to be bold about the future. We can form a political party that will have even 1 million online supporters.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you, within a week, we can do it. I'm telling you that if we have the right team of people, we can mobilize young people to come out and be, look, people in 2000, as way back in 2001, I remember we did a paper talking about why youth participation in politics was so low. The real reason is this: we don't believe that democracy works in Nigeria. Simple.
That's the thing. We don't believe.
We don't. And they've proven it to us time and time again. However, Twitter democracy works somehow. Do you understand? You can shame somebody to doing something, and then you're like, okay, so I'm not saying that works in practice. I'm saying it is a glimpse of things that could be if we only got united. So guess what? Communication has never been cheaper. We can sell ideas by a tweet, by a WhatsApp message, by an email. What we now have to do is get bootstrapped. If Sarah mobilizes her people, and now it's not about Sarah, and please let it not be that because Sarah is the female, that's enough. No, that's not good enough. Is that Sarah is a qualified female, exactly. Right? Qualified. That has a clear track record of things before. Because you cannot give what you don't have. Yeah. Once we have that, we come behind and say, you know what, even I wanted to run, even she wanted to run, but guess what? Sarah is the best candidate. We don't care what her text is. We will support her and we will stand by her. Guess what? Even if in 2023 you don't win, make a dent. In 2019, no independent candidate made any dent. Nobody did, because they were all scattered and nobody believed that they could humble themselves one for the other. So we need to do that. Because even in the biggest, I mean, think about a party like APC or PDP. Look at the big people that are there. At some point in time, somebody says, you know what? Calm down. I'm running. Yeah. And people say, calm down, we'll work it out. So there must be a power sharing formula to say, guess what? Ibijoke, I will say that you guys can run now. You will do in 2028. In the meantime, you'll be part of the campaign committee. Let's get the victory. Let's get this party going and moving. Because if young people continue to say it's not going to change, guess what? The old people have enjoyed their life over time. They've enjoyed their lives. You haven't. So you cannot be complacent anymore. So, I mean, those are my thoughts about it. So, Sarah, I'm with you for your election.
Sarah, thank you so much, Audu. That was so spot on. And I mean, I'm so glad with this conversation, honestly, because it feels like it's one step further in the right direction. And Sarah, I must really commend you for, sharing your truth and sharing your frustration about the current system and how much you want to do. What I want you to do, please, is reach out to us. You have ELectHER's email address. Let us speak with you and see how we can support, you. As you know, ELectHER is non-partisan. Our goal is to support capable women, as Audu said, who want to lead and lead us into a prosperous Nigeria. I also need to mention that one of the things we'll be launching at the end of this year is the ELectHER Future Lawmakers Program. And one of the reasons why I want to do that is we want to incubate a new set of young people with the right ideology and mindset, with the right capability to take on lawmaking offices. Because without actually law implementation, without the right policies, we can't get anywhere. Recently, I've been studying the Nigerian Constitution, and some of the things I'm just saying, I'm like, this is not true. The penal code in the north, a lot of things. And I feel like the more we get women into office, the more we can challenge these things. Also, the more we can also work on social media capital as well to sort of amplify this thing. So, Sarah, we want you to reach out to us. We want to have a conversation so that at the time we're ready to launch this, perhaps if you're capable and we feel like your skills, you have the right set of skills, we would love to definitely welcome you to the program and see how we can support you. What I would say is I've been following your work, but it's one thing to follow your work from afar. It's one thing to actually engage with you on a personal note like this. I want to say thank you for what you stand for. I want to say that ELectHER will definitely be in touch. We see a brother in you, we will bounce things by you because you are our ally. Men as allies, you know, are very important to actually like uplifting the movement that will stand for. So that's very crucial to us. The last person we're going to have allowed to talk is Yemisi, and we're not going to receive any more calls, if that's okay. So Yemisi, you can please speak, but please keep it very, very short, please. Yemisi, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, Yemisi, yes.
Oh, it's been a great session. Kudos to you for putting this together. And for Audu, great work. For Seun, great work. Okay. But my name is Yemisi George. I have an NGO called Women for Peace and Unity Growth Initiative. And at this point, you know, I'm actually calling from the US at this time. And I think it's about solution, because the problem is so enormous that if you want to dwell on the problem, it's going to be forever.
Absolutely.
But what is the solution? Number one, you need to begin to conquer your sphere of contact. What are you giving back to the system as the name that you have built? For instance, I spoke with someone recently and I said, you kept complaining. What have you given back to the system yourself? The girl that is around you, what have you been able to do? We cannot keep blaming this on the government. Yeah. And when we talk about politics, I keep saying that women, we have the key to peace. But there's something that kept missing in the society.
Hi, sir. I Yemisi. Unfortunately, we've lost Yemisi.